Good morning and welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. Our goal is to become your preferred show for real estate and financial advice. We want to help you save, invest, and ultimately make money. We are your local real estate advocates for Salt Lake, Utah, and Davis counties. We're your local advocates. We're here to help you find real estate, save money, invest money, and make money. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM. If you missed our show last week, we had Max Pia with Pest Pro, a local pest control specialist, and we also had my dad, Lane Womack, on the show, and he is a home and auto insurance expert. We've got a great show planned for you today. We've also got a free information packet if you're looking to sell your home. We've got a free 7 seller tips. It's a free ebook that we can email over to you if you're thinking about selling your home. Text the words 7 seller tips to 801-674-9995 and we'll text you or email you over that free ebook. Again, if you have any questions or want to talk ever about real estate or finance, we're always here for you at 801-674-9995. Today on the show, we've got Lorin Hanks, a local credit repair expert, and we've got Cammy Staker with Sunlight Solar to talk a little bit more about some of the ways that you can use solar to cut your energy cost and go green. But our first guest on the show is Lorin. Lorin, it's great to have you on the show today.
Thanks, Clint. Good to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So you tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm the owner of Aggressive Credit Repair. I started that about 10 years ago and been growing ever since.
Local company?
Local company. I work with customers in all 50 states, but about probably 70% of my customers are here in Utah.
Oh, awesome. Well, great to have you.
Thank you.
Tell me about your family. Do you have family here in Salt Lake City?
I do. I was born and raised here with a short... I lived in L.A. for a while, but for the majority of my life, I've been here, yeah.
So Salt Lake City's home for you. Awesome. So tell me about your company. Where are you guys located? I'm
in Harriman, South Jordan area. I've been there for the last half of the decade that I've owned the business. I started in Taylorsville.
And what's the name of your company again?
Aggressive Credit Repair, LLC.
Okay. And tell me, what are what's your main clientele, I guess?
That's a good question and a hard one to answer because it's everybody. I get 21-year-olds I had an 80-year-old sign up for my credit repair program the other day. So everybody's interested in fixing their credit.
What was the 80-year-old interested in doing?
He had some little glitch come up, and he still invests in real estate even though he's a retired guy. He's real important that he had this one little thing fixed on his credit, and I was there to help him.
So are you mostly looking for people that are looking to refinance or buy a home, or is it just, do you get other people just kind of interested in fixing their credit as well?
It doesn't matter why you want to fix your credit, whether it's for a home loan or just to get a car or just to sleep good at night. I get people for every reason, but by and large, most people join my program for the purpose of getting a home loan. Okay, so I would say that the statistics right about now are about 70% of the people that sign up for my program are doing it for the purpose of either now or later get a home loan.
And so there's 3 main credit bureaus. Just as a building block or general information, what's the range of credit scores that someone can have?
Well, from 0 to 850, depending on the scoring model, and I won't get into the detail of the scoring model, which can kind of be confusing, but most people know stuff like the FICO scoring model, okay, which is used by some lenders. But 0 to 850 is about your average score that you can have, and you can have 3 respective scores with Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. They don't share information, so each bureau's score is as important as the other.
So I know as a mortgage professional, we go by the middle of the 3 scores. What's kind of a general score range that you see on people that you work with?
The average person will join my program in the mid to high 500s. And as a result of my program, within 6 to 12 months, I'll get them about 100 points. Now, that's just average. It depends on the situation.
So what are some of the things you do? I know some companies dispute, other companies do a legal dispute or different.
Yeah,
I know there's different approaches.
disputing would be kind of the backbone of most credit repair companies. So I have a real simple 3-step process. Okay, first step of the program, you come in, I do an analysis of your credit, tell you what's good and bad about your credit, make sure you have enough open lines to generate a strengthening score. As the program goes on, mostly that's just make sure customers have like a credit card. Something like a credit card is really valuable to build your score. Second step of the program, I go through the disputing process. I consider it due diligence for every consumer to go out there and dispute inaccurate or negative items on your credit report, just to make sure that only accurate stuff is reporting on your report. And then my program, different than a lot of other credit repair companies, I'm going to have people pay off debts in the third and final step of the program. You know, as in the mortgage business, real important to have past due debts taken care of before you go to get financed for a mortgage. So we address those things in the third and final step of the program. So after 3 steps, you have less negative items on your credit report, no outstanding past due debts, and all the tools in place to generate a strengthening score as you proceed with the program, or as you leave my program.
And what's the typical cost?
$59 a month. That's it.
Any setup fees or anything?
Well, it's just $59. In fact, I don't have a setup fee, but after I complete your analysis, we do start the $59 a month.
Okay. And what are some of the questions that frequently come up either before you start or during the process of credit repair?
The first question is, can you actually help me? Which is the most important question because not everybody's a great candidate for credit repair. So I start out by asking people, can you settle your debts? Are you financially comfortable right now where you can pay your current bills on time and then later focus on past due debts? Because if you're not, it's going to be real tricky to eventually, settle those outstanding past due debts, which will later have you successfully complete my program. So that's the most important thing, is pre-qualifying somebody for my program. Are they a good candidate for credit repair? Most people that call me are.
We're talking with Lorin Hanks here with Aggressive Credit Repair, local business here in Salt Lake County, Salt Lake City, down in South Jordan, Harriman area. He's been doing credit repair for several years, a local expert. If you have any questions for Lorin, please give us a call at 801-674-9995 or text the words credit repair to 801-674-9995. We'll get you in touch with Lorin and get you on your way, answer any questions that you have about credit repair, and see if you might need his services to get your scores up in preparation for a home loan or a refinance or a home purchase. Again, we have a free ebook for you, 7 Seller Tips. If you're looking to sell your home, we can text the word 7 Seller Tips, and we will get you that free ebook. Also, if you haven't liked us on Facebook, on our Facebook page, go to facebook.com/Womack Radio, and you can see past shows and like us and become one of our fans. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker.
Oh, you're feeling like the rest of your life. You ought to know, you gotta do better now.
Welcome back. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. We've got Lorin Hanks here with us with Aggressive Credit Repair. Lorin, before the break, we were talking a little bit about general credit scores. Sounds like scores range from 0 to 850. Out of curiosity, what's the lowest score you've ever seen?
Well, 0. Most people, if you can't really go below 400, you would think you can, but once you're that low, it's actually just a 0 because the way the scoring system works, you can't. At least I've seen thousands of credit reports, and I've never seen one out. So anything below around 400 just immediately goes to 0, and that's just usually a result of nothing positive on the credit report. Also, an NA will pop up on a credit report that doesn't have enough information to support a score.
So the NA is if they have insufficient trade lines or no credit at all, basically. But you have seen a 0 score?
I see them actually quite a bit, yeah.
And that's if they're just all bad trade lines.
Yeah, so let's say a young
credit.
person enters my program. I was talking to your producer. I think he's 26, and he said, I didn't have any good credit. I just had negative credit. Okay, so in some scoring models, that's going to come up as a 0 because there's nothing. All he would have to do is immediately get a credit card, and he'd probably be up into the 600s. But with nothing positive to support that, he's going to have a 0 because there's no supporting evidence that he's a credible borrower.
So you've worked with people that have 0?
All the time, yeah, all the time. And it's like I said, really quickly, within probably 30 days, as long as we get them something as simple as like a secured credit card, their scores will shoot up 500-600 points in 1 month. From a 0 to somewhat established.
So that's a big jump.
Yeah, and then after that threshold's pretty simple to get to, but following that, then it becomes tougher to get up to where, 700 and higher, where creditors really want to see you to get the lowest interest rates.
So you said the normal turn time to get your score up to where you want it to be or get it to jump up 100 points is around 6 months.
6 to 12.
6 to 12 months.
Yeah, it can take a little longer depending on. It's like I call it. It's kind of like a fitness program or a diet program. You're starting with different people, and therefore there's going to be different time frames for each person.
There's no magic pill. It can't happen overnight.
No.
Okay. So is there any way to rush the process? Say someone needs to get it done in 3 months. Is that doable or possible?
Yeah. Well, again, it depends on the case. I'm not. The second somebody says I quick or rush or anything like that, I immediately give them a reality check. Okay, it took 7 years minimum usually to build this, credit situation you're in. It's going to take a little time to get out of it, but typically, within 30 days, my customers are seeing results. And again, depending on the case, there are people that can get in and out of my program in 1 month, but realistically, it's going to take time. From the mortgage business and probably the real estate business that just about every case always has a little hiccup here and there. It's going to take a little bit longer than expected. So I'm going to give my customers a realistic perspective of how long it's probably going to take that's slightly pessimistic or, I just want to give a realistic expectation as unrealistic.
You don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, basically.
No, you don't want to, no, absolutely not.
So that's awesome. I love that. I love being able to trust in the professionals that you work with. We're all about building up a team on this show. We want to build up a team of professionals that you can trust, especially with credit repair. Your credit score is so important these days, whether you're buying a home or getting a credit card or buying a boat or whatever it may be. Your credit score is important, and that's why we're talking about it here with Lorin Hanks. So what are some of the any memorable experiences or transactions that come to mind from working in the credit repair business for so long?
One specifically, I remember I had a real tough alpha male type ex-police officer cry on the phone after I fixed his credit and he was able to get into a house. And, I've had a million, literally thousands of different cases where people are happy. So I have a bad memory, so I don't specifically remember each one. But I do regularly hear people tell me that they love the program, they're happy. And more important than the money that I make in my business is, as a business owner, that's what makes me sleep good at night. That's what makes me excited to wake up for work, is when people are happy and they tell me about it. And in fact, a couple years back, I added a reviews section to my website. So I am, number one goal for me after I've completed somebody's credit is please tell your story on my website on the reviews page. You can go there. In the last 2 years, I think there's over 200 different, respective reviews from different people telling their story.
Wow. Local professional that you can trust. Again, this is Lorin Hanks with Aggressive Credit Repair. What's that reviews page or place that they can go to see your reviews?
Well, you can find my website, aggressivecreditrepair.com, and just click on the reviews button on the homepage, and you can see that. I think most people will join my program. Well, what separates me from other credit repair?
Yeah, there's hundreds of them out there.
There's a lot, and you got to be careful. Like any business, there's good businesses and there's bad businesses, or people that are definitely trustworthy and not. So what separates me from the rest? I'm the only established credit repair business that I've ever heard of where you work directly with owner. All my customers work directly with me. You go to the reviews page, you'll see for yourself that I'm the real deal. A lot of happy customers on there. Also, the only Get Part approved credit repair company in existence.
Which is huge here in Salt Lake County. If you know of any companies that are Get Part approved, you can trust them. And I trust Lorin Hanks. That's why we have him here on the show today. Let's talk a few tricks of the trade. I know there's a few tricks. I'm in the mortgage business as well. Do you ever recommend that someone get added as an authorized user to a good account? Say, have a family member, they can get added as an authorized user and inherit some of that good credit history.
Yeah, that's a great question. The term used would be called piggybacking. You get on somebody else's to to get their good credit. I'm not a huge advocate of that. Does it work? Absolutely, it works. Why am I not a huge advocate of that? I want to see people build their credit themselves. Okay. It's just as easy for you to go out and get yourself a secured card. It's the same points. But Clint, yes, that will work if that's what you want to do. But again, I'm pushing my customers to build their credit without the help of anyone else but themselves. So I've got a couple places where I'll send them to go get a little secured card. That credit card, just having a revolving line of credit on your report, if you haven't had one before, will shoot your points up immediately. That's probably the quickest, shortest little trick that I've got to boost somebody's score in a short period of time.
So revolving accounts like credit cards that you can pay down and charge back up, those types of accounts affect your score more than an installment loan. Is that right?
So there's three kinds. There's mortgage, installment, and revolving. All of them help you, but think of the three lines in terms of what separates each other from the other. Revolving credit is the reason it's called revolving, and it's an open-ended term line of credit. It's the only one where the consumer gets to decide when it opens and closes. Open-ended term. Okay. So because the scoring model is basically a risk assessment model, you can tell the most from a consumer and how they pay on something like a credit card, what balance that they keep it at. A zero balance, for example, is not good for your score. A lot of people don't realize that. Why? Because in a risk assessment model, you're not proving or demonstrating your ability to borrow if you carry a zero balance. It almost looks inactive. Okay? So, in my opinion, well, I've seen this definitively, so this is a fact. Credit cards can give you the most amount of points, especially over a long period of time.
So you would recommend, I think the number's around 25% of the available limit. So say you have a $10,000 available limit, you'd want to keep that balance on your credit card at $2,500 or less to get the most points out of that card.
Again, so I'll refer to the risk assessment model. What makes a borrower look the most responsible? Anytime you're over 50%, air quotes here, I consider that card maxed. Okay, a lot of people say, well, if you have a 10,000 line and you're only at 5,001, how is that maxed? Well, you're now in the position where it looks like you've overextended yourself if you have that much. Okay, I've heard that about 20 to 30% right around there is the sweet spot to get the most points of that card. So think about how a credit card works. Once a month, let's say Visa, for example, will report your balance to the bureau. Not every single day. So a lot of people thinking that they're doing self-justice by paying off the card every month and maxing it out every month, they're actually hurting themselves because only one time a month does Visa report that balance. So you want to make sure to get the most points of the scoring system possible that one day you're leaving your balance about that 25% mark to get the most points out of the score.
Do you give people a free analysis if
Absolutely.
They have a credit card? So
yeah.
Again, this is Lorin Hanks with Aggressive Credit Repair. If you'd like a free analysis of your credit and possibly places where he can help you improve your score, text the words credit repair to 801-674-9995 and we'll get you in touch with Lorin for that free analysis. You can also call us at any time at 801-674-9995. We're mortgage and real estate professionals. We're your team of advocates, this is a local show, the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM. Lorin, so let's talk about maybe medical debt or other debts that are on there, collection accounts. Do you help people settle those when you're doing credit repair? Is that part of the process?
It is, but I want to be specific. It's actually illegal for a credit repair company to call and do the negotiating yourself. In my program, arguably the most important step is about settling debts. So what I'm going to do is make sure that my customers do go in and settle those accounts accordingly. It's without going into too much detail, very extremely important part of the process. Now, a little caveat is that not all medical debt for the purpose of a mortgage, I think you know this, does have to be settled. So I make sure that before we go in and pay anything, that my customers dispute it, make sure it's legitimate, and then if they do go in and pay that, I'll kind of walk them through the process and how to settle it.
So do you ever do conference calls with them on those when they're dealing with debtors on trying to settle that, or is that something they need to do on their own?
It is something. I provide them a little what's called a debt settlement statement. I'll show them here's who you need to pay, here's who to call, here's what to say, here's how to settle it for less. But again, I'm not supposed to talk to their creditors, so I don't do that. But I walk them through it, and to be perfectly honest, whether you get an attorney or the President of the United States on the phone to settle this debt for you, they're pretty much going to offer you the same amount, whether it's the creditor or me or some fancy attorney on the phone. So I leave that up to them, being that it is a pretty simple process.
Do you see a lot of creditors settling for less?
Absolutely. That's a great question, because what's the trick to get a creditor to settle for less? Well, if let's say you owe $1,000 on a medical debt, okay, and you call a collection company and you say, well, I don't have, I want to make payments on this. Well, then they're going to ask you to make $100 payments for 10 months and pay the entire $1,000, as opposed to, and here's the trick, offer a one-time settlement amount. Okay, so they'll probably settle for $500 or $600. This is a hypothetical situation. If you do a one-time payment, why is that? Well, they want all their money now. They want to close the deal now. They don't want to risk you not making payments in the future on that $1,000. So they're willing to settle for a lot less just in that one payment.
Have you seen? I've heard this, but I don't know the specifics. Right after you immediately settle a debt on a credit report or settle something on there, immediately it might hurt your score, but then eventually it brings it up?
That's a myth, okay? That's a real gray area, because you got to think, why would it be how could you possibly be penalized for settling a debt? And it depends on what scoring system we're using. Most scoring systems out there, if you pay off a collection, it's not going to update the account and hurt you. So what we're dealing with in the eyes of the scoring model is the original delinquency date, okay? You're not updating that by settling a debt. And in fact, a lot of creditors want to see these things settled, so it's advantageous of the consumer, the customer or consumer to pay these debts. It's not going to hurt you to do that, okay? In most scoring models. Now, back in the day, a lot of scoring models, it would penalize you, but these days it doesn't do that. But again, I'm talking about the scoring models that I'm familiar with, that I've seen. So can't say that for all of them, but in my program, it's not mandatory, but I'm extremely encouraging of settling all debts. The great part about settling a debt is after you do so, you can go through the disputing process, and even though that debt will update to paid and you get 0 points for paying a debt, if it's a past due old closed account, the positive side is that you can go through the disputing process subsequent to paying it, and a lot of times the creditor is not going to find it because they don't have it's not worth their time to go through verifying that account, and you can get it deleted from your report, and that's where you get points.
Deletion's a big point gainer, right?
Yep. So after my customers pay off their debts, I'm going to go through and dispute the heck out of these things again and see if we can't get them off. And about 60% of the time after a collection is paid, it does come off as a result of my disputing. But even if it doesn't, it's still good to pay it, because it's no longer a point of contention for future creditors.
So I do mortgages, and one of the things that comes up frequently is for Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae is these disputed accounts on credit reports.
Yep.
Any quick tips on getting rid of those disputes in a timely manner?
In my program, I ask my customer. Okay, so what he's talking about is there's software when you turn in an application. If there's any accounts that are open in dispute, it causes a problem for the underwriting software, and you can't have any of those things during the underwriting process. Now, not to bore anybody, but to shorten it up, to sum it up, you just want to, and this is what I ask my customers to do when they start my program, you just want to make sure not to be disputing anything before you go through the mortgage process, because those can be a point of contention for lenders. Now, it's not a huge deal as long as disputes take 30 days, and as long as they complete and they're done before you go through the mortgage underwriting process, you're going to be fine. So
if you have one on there, if you have an open dispute, what's your method of getting rid of it? Do you go straight to the bureaus, like Experian, or do you go straight to the creditor?
3 ways you can go about it. Depending on your mortgage company, they might have our mortgage company has a process that we just have the customer fill out a piece of paper that stops the dispute. That's one method, okay? Another method is just wait the 30 days, okay? The 30-day dispute rule will end soon, and as long as that's done, you're good there as well. The other way is to actually contact the bureaus and just ask them, hey, I don't want this dispute to continue. Please close it.
Lorin, so great to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Clint.
This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM. We've got a free lunch giveaway coming up later in the show. We've also got an interview with Cammy Staker of Sunlight Solar. So grateful that you're listening to the show today. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you missed our show last week, we had a pest control specialist and also my father, Lane Womack, with home and auto insurance. Please visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/Womack Radio. Again, we are your local advocates for real estate and finance. We want you to be able to trust our advice. We want to help you save money, invest that savings, and ultimately make more money for yourself, for your family, for your future generations. We're here for you. We're your local advocates, and we hope that you can trust us and tune in weekly to our show. Our show is every Saturday and Sunday morning at 10 a.m. right here on 860 a.m. I want to give a special thanks to my assistant, Raquel Folger, and also to Corey Hooker for running the boards and doing such a great job each week on the show. Our next guest on the show is Cammy Staker. She is with Sunlight Solar, a local solar company. She has a background in nursing, but decided to switch gears and go into solar. Cammy, it's great to have you on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
So tell me about yourself. You're from California originally?
No, I'm from Sandy, Utah originally.
Okay.
Yeah, we just traveled to California for a little contract stint out there, and that's what prompted the solar business to start up.
Yeah, solar is huge in California.
Yes, it is. Well, they pay a very high premium for electricity, and Utah's not quite there yet with that kilowatt hour is what it's called. We pay about 7 cents. California is anywhere from 20 to 26 cents per kilowatt.
Triple the price.
Yes. So for them, it makes sense to go solar. And for us in Utah as well, it makes sense for us to go solar too. We don't have the best air quality. People are moving here at a rapid rate. And so, yeah, we just feel that it's the way to go in Utah.
Yeah, when you're paying triple the price, and I imagine prices will continue to go up in Utah. I know we have a lot of people in Utah that move from California, and I think the prices are probably one of the reasons.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, Rocky Mountain Power assessed every Utah electrical consumer about $6 last year, plus 3 increases as well. And this next year, they've asked the commissioner to increase rates again. So it's happening. We're slowly going to see an increase in rate over the next 5 to 10 years, probably. Why
is that? Is that just the cost of doing business in the electrical world?
I just think the infrastructure is getting bigger in Utah. I think, they have to do repairs and different things like that. And so I just think the price is increasing. Plus, to get the coal here. But anyway, and so just the cost of electricity is going up.
So we've got solar. So tell me a little bit about what your company does.
So we custom design and install solar systems. We do residential, commercial, and industrial. We've been in business since 2008 with over 250 installations across the state and 100% customer satisfaction.
That's a pretty good rating.
Yeah, definitely. We've got an amazing crew. We have 7 guys that work with us. We're electrical contractors, so we're electricians, and we do a great job. We can come in and put a system on and have it run for years to come.
What's your main clientele? Is it more residential or more commercial?
I would say about 60% residential and about 40% commercial.
Is there one part of the valley that you seem to have more clientele in than the other, or is it kind of all across the valley?
Yeah, it's all across the valley. It's as far north as Bear Lake to as far south as Moab, far west as Magna, and then east all the way down into Park City and Heber.
Do you guys have offices in Utah?
Yeah, we do. We're located at 3959 South, West Temple. So just right there off a track station.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of commercial buildings in that area and a lot of good home improvement places there.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell me, what's the typical cost range for a new solar system? I'm sure it depends on the square footage and the usage and those sorts of things, but is there kind of a range for a residential installation? Yeah,
there is. So we base our systems off of three areas. So your roof space, 1, your budget, of course, and then your electrical consumption. So how many kilowatt hours you use a month. A system range size can go from 1 kilowatt, which is 4 panels. Price tag on that's anywhere from $7,000 to $9,000 approximately. And a typical average system is a 5 kilowatt, which is 20 solar panels, and that can be anywhere from $21,000 to $23,000. And the offset for those, so for a 5 kilowatt, you'll save about 550 to approximately 625 AC kilowatt hours a month. And it's hard to transfer that to dollars. So it just kind of depends on the infrastructure of the home, how older, if it's a lot older, if you've got upgraded electrical lines, service, that's the range that kind of puts it in.
Is your main goal to completely get off the grid, or do you still have ties to the grid and the solar, depending on how much solar usage there is?
That's a good question. So the majority of systems we do are grid tied. That means you're connected to the grid. You get a net meter from Rocky Mountain Power, and that keeps track of your consumption, of what you push into the grid with your electrical from your solar system, and then what you're using from the grid. And so that has a memory, and it keeps track of that net meter. We've done quite a few systems that are a hybrid system, so it's a battery backup and then connected to the grid as well. So when the grid goes down, you still have your battery backup portion of your system. So you'll have a few loads. For example, your refrigerator or, a few lights in a certain area of a room. You'll have those loads put into a different panel, and that's the electrician part of it. Mm-hmm. And then that'll power those batteries, from the solar system, and it'll power those batteries, and you'll have electricity at those times. There are a few homes that are completely off-grid, but there's not very many. We have a pretty stable grid system in Utah, and it's not often that our power goes out. And when it does go out, it only goes out for 6, maybe 10 hours.
What's the downside of having solar and being completely off the grid?
The expense. It's very, very, very expensive to be completely off the grid and have a battery bank. You have to get a huge battery system to accommodate the loads of the house, and all of that's calculated. But the price on that can range anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000.
Wow.
Yeah, depending on how many fridges you have, how many electrical appliances, how much wattage you're using for the whole home.
So what was the first one you talked about? A tie-in?
A grid tied. Grid tied. Yeah, and that's the majority of the systems we do are the grid tied systems. The only downside to that is when the grid goes down, your system goes down too.
Because there's no batteries in place?
Correct. And if a linesman's working down the line 100 feet or a mile, you don't want to be pushing all of that electricity into the grid while he's down there working. So that's the point of having the grid goes down, your system goes down too. Okay.
So those batteries that you're talking about, are those pretty big? Do they take up a lot of space? And where do you put those?
They're just a typical go-kart battery or a golf cart battery. Mm-hmm. Usually you like to put them in the garage, in a container, in a nice metal container is what we put ours in, and a lock, of course. And they don't take up a lot of space. You can stack them, 6, 7 high and 4 across, and they're, in a nice cabinet. But they don't have the warranty like solar panels and the inverters do. So solar panels have a 25-year manufacturer warranty. Inverters have a 25-year manufacturer warranty. Battery life, 5, maybe 7 years. So batteries, you're constantly getting new batteries or, updating them or trying to upgrade them. And then to get rid of them, they're not the cleanest to get rid of.
What's an inverter for us people that don't know too much about solar?
Okay, so there's a couple different types of inverters. So there's what we call a string inverter, and then there's a microinverter. So microinverter is new technology that's been out for just a little while. What that means is a microinverter, each panel gets a microinverter. And so the benefit of that is if you get a little bit of shading on one panel, it just wipes that panel out or a portion of that panel. So you're not generating a lot of electricity. The shade is the enemy, of course, for solar. And then with a string inverter is really, the benefit of a string inverter is to have batteries in the future. Microinverters you can't have batteries with. But with a string inverter, the downfall is if you do have a branch that's shading one panel, it will wipe out that whole string of panels. So if there's 5 panels on a string, usually 7, then it will take that whole string out.
This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM. We're talking here with Cammy Staker, one of the owners of Sunlight Solar Systems, a local solar company dedicated to helping you save money on your energy cost and going a little bit more green depending on the energy of the sun. Local company, I highly recommend Cammy Staker over at Sunlight Solar. Again, we have a free lunch giveaway coming up after the break. We also have 7 seller tips, a free little ebook. If you're looking to sell your home, it has 7 tips to getting your home ready for sale. Give us a call if you are interested in any of those. It's 801-674-9995. We've got to take a quick break, but stay with us. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. Welcome back. Thank you so much for listening to the show today. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. We are your local advocates for real estate and finance. We want you to come to us for real estate and financial advice. We want to help you save money. We want to help you invest those savings and then make money on your investments. A wise investment could be a solar system for your home. As a mortgage professional, there's a couple mortgage products out there for solar systems. FHA has a great energy efficient program. We can do a cash out refinance that could help you do home improvements and possibly invest in solar for your home. If you have any questions for Cammy Staker, she's one of the owners of Sunlight Solar. She can give you a free analysis of your home and let you know if solar might be a good idea. If you want to get in touch with Cammy, that's 801-674-9995. We can get you in touch with her and she can talk about your different options for solar systems, solar panels for your home. Cammy, thanks again for joining us on the show today. Is there any advice that you have for someone that's considering solar for their home?
Yeah, absolutely. Check licenses. Jump on Doppel, www.doppel.org. And just put in the contractor's name. So put in Sunlight Solar Systems, and then you'll see the licenses. There's 2 licenses required for solar. There's a S200 and an S202. One is an electrical contracting license, and the other one is a NABCEP certification. I would definitely recommend having both of those for the contractor that you hire.
Seems pretty electrical intensive. I mean, these solar panels are great, but if you're not putting that energy anywhere through the electrical wires and the electrical systems, they seem like they're not going to do their job.
Yeah, definitely. And it is high voltage, and you want to make sure that's wired up correctly and that you have an expert doing it, such as ourselves, so that it is done safe and effective and within your budget.
So you coming from a nursing background, how have you liked switching gears and going solar after being a nurse for so long?
I really enjoy it. I did the management aspect of nursing and opened a couple surgery facilities. And so for me, this was a nice transition to really focus on something that I truly believe in 100%, having renewable energy and educating the public of the importance of, decreasing our carbon footprint. So for me, it's a real personal, choice to be able to do this, have this company and be a part of it.
We're a huge proponent of local companies, of small business here in Utah, and it's so great to have you on the show with us. One final question. I don't know if you've seen it, but Rocky Mountain Power asked their customers to pay an extra $10 or $20 a month for other renewable energy sources. I don't know if you've seen that before, but they do, they'll ask you to pay $10 a month, and that goes towards like a wind farm. Yeah, the Blue Sky program. What's your take on doing blue sky versus maybe looking into doing your own solar system for your house?
Yeah, Rocky Mountain Power has quite a few programs out there. The Blue Sky Grant program is one of them. And so that money that you're contributing every month goes to Blue Sky Funds awards that go to commercial buildings in the for the future. So it's kind of an education piece for Utah people. So, for example, we did Art Space Solar Gardens downtown. It's the first net use mixed building in Utah. So what that means is they're pushing as much electricity in the grid as they're using. So it's a zero use building basically. And they were awarded the Blue Sky Funds. So that's kind of where that money comes from and goes to. So it is for renewables, but then it's pushed out for new commercial buildings to put renewables, solar power on. Rocky Mountain Power also has a lottery in place that's at the beginning of each year, and it can save you. It drops 5 cents a year, but next year it will be $3.95 a watt of savings, and then it's in place for the next 3 years. But it is a lottery, so your chances are 1 in, I don't know, maybe 20 or so. I'm not sure exactly on the statistics, but and then they also have a commercial program for commercial buildings. They've got it a small commercial and a large commercial, and that money is readily available for commercial buildings in Utah. So
there's some great programs out there. I know the technology is always improving, just like computer technology is improving. I know the solar technology has improved over the years. Great programs out there. I've been kind of getting into the kick of these new LED lights and the new lights that you can put in your home to save energy. I think anything we can do to reduce our footprint and become more energy independent is a great thing for our state and for the country in general. Again, if you have any questions for Cammy Staker, give us a call at 801-674-9995 and we'll get you in touch with Cammie. Again, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Now is the time for our free lunch giveaway. Thank you for your patience. We've got a great lunch for you today on this giveaway. It's to Market Street Grill. It's a free lunch for 2. They've got several locations. They've got a location downtown, one in South Jordan, and one in Cottonwood Heights. They serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they have an incredible Sunday brunch. Text the words free lunch to 801-674-9995 or give us a call at that same number, 801-674-9995, and we'll hook you up with that free lunch to Market Street Grill. They're famous for their fresh fish of the month, which is halibut this month. They also have an amazing clam chowder. They have a variety of foods that range from salads to fish and chips. And if you go in before 7 p.m., there's an early bird special for $19.89. You can choose from the Atlantic salmon, halibut fish and chips, or roast prime rib. Again, we've got that great free lunch for you. Text the words free lunch to 801-674-9995 or give us a call, and we will hook you up with that free lunch for 2 to Market Street Grill. We wanted to have an open house segment today. We've got 3 open houses that we'd like to share with you today. The first open house is at 8536 South, 1330 East in Sandy, Utah. That's in the Peruvian Park subdivision. This is a new home on the market. It's been on the market for about 4 days. This home is listed for $224,900. The home is open on Saturday, May 31st from 12 to 2 p.m., and that home is listed by Harmony Real Estate. We've got another open house by D.R. Horton. That home is located at 5179 West, Fort Rose Drive, number 73, out in Harriman. It's in the Villages subdivision and is listed for $272,600. Last open house of the day is at 4821 West Dock Street out in the Daybreak subdivision in South Jordan. A very nice new home. This home is listed for $580,000. That home is open on Saturday, May 31st from 12 to 4 p.m. and is listed by Keller Williams Real Estate. My name is Clint Womack. I am the owner of the local small business Vintage Lending and Realty. If you'd like a private showing for any of these open houses, or if you'd like more information, give me a call anytime at 801-674-9995. I'll get you more information on those homes or help you find the perfect home that you're looking for. I wanted to share these 7 seller tips for today. If you're thinking about selling your home, maybe now within the next 3 months or in the next couple years, these tips can help you prepare your home for sale. One of the first tips is preparing your home for the buyer. So this is decluttering your home, cleaning it up. I recommend hiring a professional cleaner to scrub the nooks and crannies and places that you might not normally clean. Also taking things off the countertops, maybe taking down some of those family photos that are all over the wall and just kind of making it a little more neutral for a buyer that's coming into your home to help them kind of try to imagine what the home would be like after they move in and after they buy your home. So that is tip number 1. Again, if you want a copy of these free tips, text the word 7 seller tips to 801-674-9995. We'll get you these 7 seller tips. Next tip is to price it right. That's where a professional comes in, a professional like myself or my team at Vintage Realty. We can help you price your home right, compare it to other recent sales in your neighborhood, compare your upgrades and other parts of the sale so that we know that it's priced right, and then it will move quickly and for top dollar. Another tip number 3 is to not over upgrade. Sometimes you want to do huge additions or do huge remodels, which doesn't always pay off. Again, contact us and we can help you determine which upgrades would be good and which wouldn't. New carpet and paint, those are always good upgrades to give it a good facelift, put in some new flowers in the front yard, just sprucing up the home a little bit to make it fresh and shiny for those buyers that are coming through. But there's 7 total tips. If you want the full package of the 7 seller tips, give me a call anytime at 801-674-9995 or text the word 7 seller tips to 801-674-9995. Thank you so much for being a listener on the show. This is a new show. We have a new time. It's Saturday and Sunday morning at 10 a.m. on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. Also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Womack Radio, where you can go and get previous show recordings and listen to some of the other tips and advice that we have for real estate and finance. Again, our goal of the show is to become one of your premier stops for financial and real estate advice, especially here in the local Salt Lake City market. We want to help you save money. We want to help you invest that